What's up? Welcome back. So, got a confession. Got a little carried away with this next little piece and didn't film a lot of it. Got in my little mock-up phase and started some stuff together and didn't know if it was going to work or not, and some of it did, some of it didn't. So, I'm kind of a stopping point now. I'm going to walk you guys through what I did, what I need to do, and what's coming up next. So I got the axle, I got the diff back from Bry, and did a good job putting everything together, building it, gave him some, I think it was 355 gears, took out the 320s, 323s that were in there, so that should put me right about where I want to be for decent drivability. Got my brackets mounted up, coilovers and everything installed, kind of got the rear end sitting in place where it needs to be. Kind of see that little guy there. There's a carrier. Yeah, everything together. And you look down there real close, you can see a little torque arm guy. So I took, I guess it's 3 pieces really. I had planned on 2 chunks of this, I think it's 1x1 120 wall. This stuff. And I ran it from a little spidery bracket that I had straight up where his uniball is at, and I had 2 bars spaced 1.5 inches, 2 inches apart, whatever, to make a little V going down there. Triangles are strong, and wouldn't you know it, one of them more of these little guys fit right in between there, so I can zap that on either side and made a nice little solid piece. Keep walking around like a retard. I got some of these roll cage gussets from the metal supply when I was there, and I kind of ran those around to kind of saddle, I guess, the pieces I put together, so I could weld all the way around it, and it would kind of lock those in place. I wanted that joint to be real strong, because when I apply, when I gas it, all the torque is going to be lifting up on that. So let me get on my back. Some of you guys know about that. And I'll show you what I got going on under here. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot too. Alright, so here's my little cross member I made. I think I showed that in the past. I want to make sure this guy was strong, so I ran 2 pieces welded together, that 1.25 inch 120 wall. And I got it tied in one of those little roll cage diddly hoppers. This is a piece of scrap right here, and I got me some shit, I don't know what they were, light bar tabs or something, and I made a little plate, welded it to there, and then I had that uniball. See that little guy? Found that online for a 1-inch bore uniball, and I made a little bracket and welded that to it, braced it all up, so that kind of can be tuned for height, if you will. So I can remove that, and if I need to change my instant center or anti-squat, I can raise or lower down to that setting point my uniball. Give me a little tunability, just in case. So the bracket starts up here, this torque arm mount. It's a 1-inch solid tube, chrome moly. I wanted to make sure that was extra strong and wouldn't break. Follow that on back here. I got the, you kind of see that. Oh, get underneath here a little better. Got this 1.25 inch, and I sandwiched a piece on either side of this inch rod here, and then I welded all these little roll bar gussets around it to kind of strengthen it up some. Move yourself on back here. This is where it goes into the 3 pieces. It's nice and strong. It shouldn't deflect up and down or anything. And then I tied it into my little spidery bracket thing. I do still have to fix, I forgot to measure this little flange here coming out, the pinion flange or whatever, so that hits. So I'm going to have to clearance it out a little bit, and I'll probably put another brace on the back side here, just so I make sure this is nice and strong. I might plate it in on the bottom here, just so I don't rip this off of this bracket. This bracket, I think I've showed before, it bolts in through the diff here. I got plate, 1/4 inch plate on either side. I ran the factory harmonic, whatever that doohickey is. It's just a little extra reinforcement to tie the 2 sides together. And then it ties in with this 1.25 quarter out to these little brackets out here. So I mimicked, I want to say it's, get out of here, I can talk. I want to say it's MMR. I mimicked one of the Mustang's torque arm setups in the attachment to the rear. So whoever that company is, made my own kind of design off that, where it bolts through. The diff uses those factory holes that the little harmonic bolted up to, and then also captured on the axle tubes. I did that so I can make it removable, and if I need to tune the pinion angle, I can just put shims under it. So yeah, that's the thought process on that. Seems pretty solid right now. Mounted everything up, put my axles in, and this diff is from an SN95. I'm still learning Ford stuff, so bear with me. It's an SN95 rear end that's let's say mid-90s. I don't know the years yet. So apparently they added an ABS analog brake system ring, little tone ring. These are the axles here. And that little guy was pressed on and rode somewhere in here. I think it was that little flange. So to do that, when they redesigned from Fox to SN95 body styles, they made it 3/4 inches longer. So thankfully, this axle, the SN95 axle, and the Fox axle can be used in the same rear end. Just have to play with some mounting stuff for it being shorter. Because when I mounted everything up, and I went to jack this guy up, little tires on there, had the rear end centered. I don't know if you can see that, but I rolled this little fender in there. I was trying to figure out why won't this jack up? Well, conveniently I had both of my tires hitting on the fenders right there, because it was just that wide. Once I shook it a little bit, I kind of got the rear end to shake down on, and was able to drop it down. Yeah, so I realized my C-clips were out. Got me another little 1/2 inch, so I get the C-clips in, got everything locked in. I realized that when I drop this thing down, it's literally touching on the outside of the tire to the inside of the inner fender there. So your tire will be rubbing right on here. Now, you guys are, I don't know if you can see that, you guys are familiar with this body style. There's like a bolt-in panel that goes here, and then there's like a lip that sticks out. So I cut that lip out, and I put a piece of there you go, rubber hose on there. So that edge is just inside of the lip of the fender. So I shouldn't have any rubbing issues as long as I pull this little rollback out and get some shorter axles. So got those on order. The fun thing about that is they come in the wrong bolt pattern, so I get to re-drill my axles. So yay, right? That's gonna be fun. So with that, these all come with 28 spline, most of them. It's a popular upgrade to go with 31 spline. But he might happen to have a 31 spline carrier, so I'm gonna hook that. Well, he's gonna hook me up with that, and we're gonna swap that in with my new gears, with the rebuilt factory Posi fucking clutch thingy, and we're gonna get 3/4 inch closer on each side. Now, the modification you have to make to do that, well, mine will be maybe different than yours, but most people will buy a bracket, this backing plate, because this normally goes on this side of the flange, and that's where your brakes bolt to, and then your dust shield and all that stuff. Well, when you get the shorter axle, your caliper mounting point has to move in the same amount. So if you cut your brackets like I did here, so that you can slide them over the tube, the axle tube here, then you can put the right side on the left side, the left side on the right side. It just works, and then bolts right back in. It moves your mounting point over the width of the flange here and the bracket, which is right about the 3/4 inches that I would need. I might have to run a washer to kind of center the caliper up on this little abutment bracket, abutment bracket deal here, right? So that should do the brakes. My brakes are both big pile of poopy, so I got some of those coming in the mail. I think I got the power stop calipers. I already got my rotors up there. I have new pads on there. I was drinking and playing around on Amazon, and I found some universal stainless brake lines for like 30 bucks. So I happened to use the center line, which I think was a universal one as it is. It's stainless. It's 3/8 24. Both sides on the block there. I think that was for a GM car. I got it for a GM car because, you know, the G-body system that was in here kind of used that anyway. So I haphazardly scrounged that up. I cut the bracket off the, and you guys can see that, cut the bracket off the center of the Mustang rear line, bolts to the diff, holds the block in place, drilled a hole in that, mounted the center brake line to it, and then I got some lines that I made up. I got a flare and some tabs that I found, and that should all bolt together and make my brake lines. So bent these little guys up, just using my little bender job in there. Found me some bolt-on brake tabs. I'll go on with like a hose clamp, then I'll run my fittings through there, lock everything down. I'll have hard or stainless throughout the entire car. So that's something that I was wanting to do for a while. I don't know if you can see that. I redid all the brake lines in the front when I did the front upgrade. Brand new brake lines to the back. So the brake system is 100% new. Should stop like a beast. Get these axles in. Got the torque arm mounted. And yeah, just some cleanup from here. I boxed in the passenger side frame rail. I don't know why. I'm sure some of you guys have the same problem where one side of your car gets done more than the other side of the car just because you can't get over to it as easy in the garage. So I got so much room for activities right here. Whatever side is on this side always gets crap done to it. But the other side, not so much. Not that much room for activities. So when you get on your back or try to get a welder in there or try to get an axle out, it's hard. So I usually end up not doing that much work on that side. But I bit the bullet, finally boxed in the frame on that side, got that painted, drilled and put nut certs in for the battery cable lines and everything I'm running on that side, so everything's secure, everything's done. I can be done with the frame and move on to the next project. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna go play around with grinding down some of the stuff over here and finish welding the plate in and wrap that up with paint. And tomorrow I'm taking my center carrier, I don't know, words matter, I guess. Take that little guy and I'm gonna swap it out for the 31 spline. Have my stuff swapped over to it, get rid of these axles, a few axles, and yeah, get the new hotness. Always check your measurements 9,000 times. Well, maybe more like 3 or 4. So I was measuring my center of the rear axle, how it's fore and aft and left and right centered in the frame. I just couldn't get it straight where both my lower links were the same on adjustment. One was way tight, one was way loose. I threaded all the way out, one thread all the way in. Couldn't figure it out. What the hell's going on? So I assumed that where I had mounted my frame mounts, the perches where the links actually bolt to, I had made those in the wrong spot. So I measured everything out, squared everything up, and they're dead on. Then I measured my link bars, which I don't know why I didn't do that from the beginning, and one of them I made the tube 17 inches and one I made the tube 18 inches. So go figure, it's not going to line up. So now I'm going to cut it down and weld it up, and link bars will be the same length. Always check your math. Welcome back. So I got my axles, got them drilled, got them installed, borrowed a Eastwood fender roller clearance maker jobber, and it works pretty good. Pushed my little fender out, that little piece that I rolled in, not a body man, so eventually I'm gonna have to probably straighten that out and fix my little rust holes and stuff I got going on here. But first time using one of these, pretty neat. It's kind of tighten or loosen, whichever way you're trying to go. Brings this arm in or out, and you can adjust the height and angle of the little bally thing in there. And the roller skate wheel, and push out your little fender. If you had a little lip that was rolled up, you can work that little guy back and forth. I'm just trying to push that whole fender out just a touch because they just touched. So that should work to give me the clearance that I need where I need it. My axles are 31 spline now. I got a 31 spline carrier. I got that in there. It's a carrier. You've seen those. I do need to clearance my torque arm where it hits the. Let me see it in there. A little pinion flange. I don't know where the drive shaft bolts to the pinion. It rubs on the torque arm, so I have to pull the torque arm back out, clearance that, probably weld a piece of pipe or something around there so it has some clearance, and then I can put it back in like for the 15th time. So here's that, and once I get done with that, looks like we're almost ready to bolt it up, put the tires on, and drop it down. You know, minus all the other stuff that I took off that I now need to put back on. And it's hot, so I'm going to be drinking a lot of beer and putting this stuff on, so enjoy the show. Take this second to give you a quick tech tip from Recycled Racing. So down here in the San Diego area, we used to race at the Qualcomm Stadium. I don't know if you've ever been down there, but it's kind of like mudding, because there's all kinds of dirt and sand and little particles of crap that get in all of your suspension. So if you ever have to change something during or after the race, you're always getting sand and stuff in your face. So one thing I've noticed in all these adjustable suspensions, which are great, is they're hard to adjust when they have sand and all in them. So a little tech tip I like to use is, my doctor one time told me that seizures were bad. So I use anti-seizure on everything. It's also known as the man glitter. You spread a little bit somewhere, and the next thing you know, it's everywhere. It's like being 4 years old again. It's great. So just a little bit of drop, dab on there, and make sure you get it all in there nice and deep like. And it's gonna be great. Nothing will ever stick to that, ever, and it'll have free motion. Free! That's even cheaper than dollars. Well, there you have it. That's today's tech tip. Make sure you get yourself some anti-seizure today. Alright, so here's the torque arm. The pinion flange is this wide, and it's rubbing, and also a little bit further sticking out is the drive shaft little yoke adapter doohickey. That sticks out a little bit further here, so I think that's about 1.5 inches. Might be able to take a piece of pipe and cut half of it off and like lay it in there. And yeah, that's right. Got my calipers on there. Only needed one washer between the backing plate and the embodiment bracket. And then bad boys on there. Got my little $30 stainless lines. These little clamp-on brackets. My clamp decided, it said, I don't want to clamp today, so I'm going to get a new one of those. And little hard lines, just expertly bent on there. That little guy bled everything out. And seems to be holding pressure. Pedal feels nice, so once I get fluid in the rear end, I can take this thing out and see what she does. So everything's installed. I'm gonna do a nut and bolt check real quick, make sure everything's good to go. Torque down my lug nuts because I always forget to do that. I'll tighten everything up with my little impact, and I don't know what that goes to, probably 70 foot-pounds or something, and I gotta torque them down. So I always forget to do that. I'm gonna do that. Developed a little bit of a coolant leak down there. And see where that little guy's coming from. So, I mean, it's about time for something to break, so at least this time it showed me where it's at. What else? I get some fluid here shortly. Take this thing for a drive and see what she does. It's hot as ball sacks out here today. I don't know if you guys know how hot that is, but it's like 98.7 plus a little bit of extra ball factor. So I don't know, does that make it like 102 degrees? I'm not a weather scientist. Plans for this. So I entered into a road rally since my region doesn't do autocross anymore since they're tearing down the stadium, and the nearest one's like an hour or something away. So anyways, COVID and all that crap, we're doing a road rally. So next is trying to get this thing creature comfortable. I think that goes together, so that I can get navigation going. Gauges. I don't have a speedometer. I mean, it has a little, but there's nothing on the inside of that. Plus that would have been cable driven anyways. So I really like these cool little numbers though. Pretty trick. Looks like some island stuff. But I got a ultralight or Pro Comp ultralight 5-inch speedometer, and God, that thing's made out of gold. It was like $400 for that thing. I'm sure by the time this video gets posted, the wife will know that I also spent $400 on that, so that's coming. Cool. And I'll be able to do the whole odometer and speedometer and all the dometers and know how fast I'm going. So next up is getting this here center console figured out. I don't like this. I mean, I like the floor shifter, but it doesn't really fit, and it doesn't really go. Not that this, you know, $20 console is going to be in here fucking forever, but that's what I got now, because I needed some cup holders, you know. So what I did manage to find was, I might have already shown this, steering column, bam bam bam. It doesn't have the ignition switch on it, which is great, and it's got this little guy, which is supposed to be the little lever for the column shifter. Somebody hacked that off, so I'm going to have to weld a piece or get another one of these little tabs on there so I can do the column shift and try to keep it more traditional looking in there. I know I need a new console, but that's what I got for now. Until I can buy or build something, that's what I'm going with. So that wraps up this episode. Stay tuned, because I'm going to drive this thing, and I'm hoping I can talk a buddy of mine into let me borrow his drone so we can get some footage all around it. That'd be kind of cool. See how that works out. But if not, we're going to see how this thing drives, stops, handles, and all that next time. So like, subscribe, do all those things you guys do. Let me know if you guys want to see something, or if I missed something on the car, or if you guys got any questions, comments, or critiques or anything. I'm always open to new ideas. So hit me up. Thanks for watching.